Okay then, so this is a quick introduction to Premiere Pro, and what we've done is we've provided some footage for you to use just so that you can play around with basic activities in Premiere Pro itself. So Premiere Pro is the main editing software that we use, and we use other programs in conjunction with Premiere Pro to make films. Okay, so Premiere Pro is editing. Okay, before you do anything, what you're going to want to do is download the files that will help you do that. So find on Moodle, if you have access to Moodle, find the practical skills folder, and in there you'll be able to find the editing training clips. I want you to click download to download those files. Once you've done that, that will go over into your downloads folder, go into there and find the editing training clips folder. Now you'll find them all like this, okay? And what I want you to do is I want to extract these files because they are zipped, they are compressed at this point in time. So if I was to double click on this one, it will automatically expand or extract these files, okay? And what it's going to do, it's going to leave a folder just like one of these ones. And it's in these folders that you actually find your files. Okay? So if we were to look into those, what lives within them? Lots and lots of MP4 files that we can use. Okay? You've got one, you've got two, and you've got three. The idea is that you're making a creative trailer, a creative montage that showcases work within the industry, okay, because they're all industry-based clips, okay, of people working within the industry. Okay, so I'd like you to just open up Premiere Pro. You'll be able to find it by typing in Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro, you'll be able to find it there. Once you've got it open, it will eventually start and open up this area here. So you can click on New Project. Click on New Project for me. Okay, so once you open a new project, it wants you to add loads of other things in there. At the moment, it's going to be saved to your Documents folder, and you can find that. If you were to click on Finder at the moment, you can click Go, you can find Documents, and we can explore that a little bit. So automatically, it saves it to Adobe, Premiere Pro, 12.0, Profile C Muircroft, and in there you've got potential files. Okay, so hopefully it'll be on here. If we press OK on this, we've just kept the names untitled, which doesn't matter at this point in time. If we just press OK, there you go. It creates a project file there. Okay. Right then. So now this is the main area. There's lots to show you within here. We'll go over them together. First of all, what I want you to do is I want you to create a new sequence. Okay, that's carouseling at the moment. That's not very good. So I just might need to pause the. No, it seems to have chilled out now. It occasionally may do that, so just bear that in mind. If I stop for a moment, or like I've obviously cut out a bit, that's because it's been carouseling. Stupid program. Okay, all right. So I want you to go to File, New, Sequence. Create a new sequence. Okay. Now, this stuff is important. It's very, very important, but it's important in another way. At this point in time, you don't necessarily need to worry about this. Essentially, all this is sequence settings. So the settings essentially allow you to choose a workspace that works with the camera that you're creating footage on. Okay. Now, you don't need to worry about that, because we don't necessarily know at this point in time what the camera was, and it might not be an option here, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to choose any, but you need to remember this point that is going to come up in a moment, okay? We are going to change the sequence setting at a different point in time. So let's just press OK to get a sequence come up here, okay? You've got a sequence now, okay? And in your project area, you have simply this sequence. You don't have anything else. What I want you to do is I want you to make a new bin, okay? We're going to call this video, okay? Now you can have bins to organize your files in all sorts of different ways. Okay, it's very, very important as an editor that you have a decent organization of your files. Generally, they're like to scenes, you know, and within them you can have like the video and the audio. You'll have a lot of files to deal with. Okay. In the meantime, let's just have one folder there, just so that we can illustrate that you can make them that way. Okay. I want you to start finding the files that you're going to use. So we have in our downloads folder, we have some editing training clips. Let's double click on this. And then we have mobile Viz 1. Let's grab all of the video from that. And let's drag that in to our bin. Drag that to there. Notice it's going to allow that because the hand has got a plus on it. If I bring that away, that will change. Okay? Doesn't like carrying around this many files, so just be wary of that. It's going to bring in 22 files it's going to import. Okay, now that you've done that, you'll be able to find your files. We double click on that and we have those files, and you can actually see some aspects of those files there. Now remember what I said about the sequence settings? It's at this point in time that we're going to sort this out. So let's take, say, any file. This file will do. Hopefully they're all made by the same camera. Let's click this file and drag this file to the sequence. Now, clip mismatch warning. This clip does not match the sequence settings. It's asking you whether you should change the sequence to match the clip settings, and you should. So what we're going to do is we're not going to have this. We're going to click this one, change sequence settings. Now watch what happens to the box now. It changes to the correct setting, and then our file will work perfectly within there. Okay? So it's at this point in time that I can actually illustrate what all of these windows do. So these are the work areas at the bottom here. These are the viewing areas. This is only in the editing section that we're going to be looking at today. Okay? But you have an opportunity to peruse files in great detail in the project area, okay, in this video bin at this point in time. But these files also can be used on the source monitor, okay. So what I did was I dragged and dropped directly from there, but you might want to essentially go about this a different way. Say for example I wanted only, say, from here to here. What I can do is I can set in and out points. So this marks in, and then move along, and that marks out. And now whatever's in that selection area is only going to take that stuff. So I can drag and drop, and notice it's noticeably smaller to the original file that I dragged in. Okay? With that source monitor as well, I can do other things. I can take only the video, okay? Because what we were doing before is we were dragging in the video and the audio. Video tracks up here, audio tracks down here, and you can see the audio. You can actually see the waveform of that audio just at the bottom there. If I was to increase the size of that, you'll be able to see that in more detail, okay? So you've got an opportunity to bring in only the audio if you wanted to as well. You've got lots of options there with the source monitor. But if you are reckless like me, what you can do is get rid of these in and out points and just grab the whole thing, bring it in from there, and essentially use the tools to select what you want from within here. So you can hover the mouse over the side there, and you'll have the option of bringing it in and out there as well. So you can be selective there. Okay. You also have the option of chopping things in half, chop chop, and then you have two files there. Okay. All very useful in their own way. The idea with editing is that you are creating a sequence of shots. Okay. That is the editing process, okay, and there's a lot of theory that goes behind that, but the main essential process is once you've got a little bit that you like, you move it in, but then you've got another bit, essentially what you can do is start making a sequence. So you've got one file that goes to another one, that goes to another one, and before you know it, you've got a sequence, okay? Now, the only other thing for me to look at this point in time is basic effects, okay? Fade in, fade out, and that sort of thing. That's all we're going to cover in this tutorial, okay? So, effect. We can look at a video transition. Let's start by doing that. We need a guinea pig, so go back into your bin and find one that you're going to use. I'm going to bring the sound down because I don't necessarily want to deal with that right now. And we're just going to look at video transitions. So there are lots to choose from. So you've got video effects that can affect the video directly. So if we go into here, we can say change the color, pop that on there, and see what that does. So our source monitor also has effect controls within here. Now in another tutorial I'll talk about that, but say for example this one is giving me lots of different options, so maybe I just change the saturation, bring the saturation down. Okay. But to do that obviously I need to play around with these. So say for example I want to change her skin into a different skin tone, and so I can do that using these. What happens if I do that? Okay, really basic. I've turned it into a She-Hulk or an alien without even trying. Obviously, you can play around with things to, you know, improve that. But yeah, it's just to illustrate essentially that you can use effects on an object, and you'll be able to see that that clip has an effect because it has FX on it. Okay, once I get rid of that, it doesn't have FX on it anymore. Okay. We're looking specifically at video transitions, okay? They are effects into themselves, but they are just quick ways to do a little bit of animation or something like that, generally. So if I was to say, click dip to black, I can drag and drop that on the end of my file. What that's going to do is it's going to fade out. It's going to dip it to black. If I didn't have that on there, it would stop abruptly, okay? But when I dip to black, it's a fade in and it's a fade out, and it's specifically black. And you can increase the size of this so that it's a gradual fade in, so on and so forth. Now, if you have two files, what you can do is you can, some of these work well to fade from one to another. Let's go into our bin and add another file. Let's grab that, zoom out. Let's try cross dissolve. Zoom in again. So if we go into our effects, our transitions, you can do a cross dissolve, drop that. And what it's generally going to do is fade out. Now it did give me a warning there that I'm going to be using repeated frames because I'm at the end of the clip. So maybe I can actually change that. If a crossfade is relying on repeated frames, it's not going to look that great, to be honest with you. So you might want to just apply that crossfade again, but bring it in just a little bit. Either side, and then if we were to add the cross dissolve, it's not going to use repeated frames, but that's only because we've got excess footage up to that point as well. But if I was to drag the crossfade out a lot further, I do have a limit on how much I can because of that repeated frame aspect. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Well, that's only something that's very specific in its issue. You shouldn't necessarily worry about that per se. At this point in time, just start cutting up those clips and everything like that. Just use the selection tool, perhaps the razor tool to move things around, and then, you know, drag things in here into this area and play around with it. And that's a basic understanding of the sequence. Okay, So you got, obviously, one thing that I didn't mention at this point in time is you've got the source monitor, but you've also got the output monitor as well, which is showing you the sequence. It's the playback of the timeline, okay? So that's essentially what you use. And that's essentially it, really. Once you're done, you need to export. So you can go File, Export, Media. Then in this area you have lots to change if you need to. If you don't worry about it. You can just click export, but otherwise choose a format. I personally prefer to use H.264 and keep it at a high bit rate. Try to match the source as much as possible, because anything else is going to provide compression. So that means that the quality of your file is going to go down. Okay, there is obviously compression happening all of the time, and H.264 isn't necessarily the best for the compression, okay, but the file sizes are relatively small and the compression is relatively little, okay, so it is ideal. Okay, you can click export. If you want to change the output so that it is somewhere that you can find relatively easy, it's either going to automatically do it to 12.0. If I was to say export it to the desktop, means I can quickly access it, and I can click export. And so it's going to quickly export, and once it's done that, we'll be able to see it on the desktop. It is now a file that I can play. There we go, sequence 1. So what is sequence 1? It's a couple of clips and a lot of black screen. So let's see what it does when we play the file back as a final thing. Whoa, okay, go away. Great, go away. Where's VLC when you need it? Okay, all right. So without thinking, but there we go. We've got the clips in there, and we've made a little sequence. And that's essentially it at this point in time. So have fun, make a decent trailer, and there will be advanced tutorials at a later date. Okay, thank you.